Hey everybody, D Amazing here, trying to bring you another video. Today we're going to talk about, this is a plastic party as I set up, ever so rudimentary as I just set up kind of as I talk. And today we're going to talk about getting to know your figures. And in the process of getting to know your figures, I don't want to say pose them better, but I guess give you insights about how I do things, because I get asked that a lot of questions. I get asked that a lot of the time. There's a ton of generic questions I always get, right? So there's always the, where do I get my dioramas? I know everybody doesn't watch my videos, so they'll just ask every video instead of going back and finding the video. So I'll link that as well, or at least my wife will. I would be away at SDCC by the time this goes up. But no, it's crazy because the thing about it is I get dioramas from a bunch of different people and I kind of put stuff together in the meantime. So for instance, these pillars are from that guy's customs. This floor is from Crashbox. That wall back there is from Crashbox. But this pillar right here in the background is from Sage, Joshua Green. So there are tons of things I kit bash dials together to make a scene look and feel the vibe that I do. And that kind of is what works with the things that I do in my photography. I really try to do with a scene, at least in my opinion, to make it work for what I like. And so like stuff like character movement, the flow, the lighting, stuff like that, I all try to incorporate into the photo to make it feel as good as I feel taking it. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. One of the things I usually do is, if I don't know a character or I don't feel like I know enough about a character, I try to study up I try to soak in a lot of stuff about them. It's hard to retain that memory on video, mostly because till this day I still feel weird about being on camera. So it is something that is completely still is a process for me. It's not something that's very easy for me. It is something that still takes time for me to process and do and feel okay about. And that's all right, because if you want to do this, you got to challenge yourself every now and then. But in terms of movement with characters, right, I chose Ken today because Ken uses the SHF fighting body. I also have a Todoroki here. I got a bat and a Spider-Man. And I'm going to try to run through how I go through the process of figuring out movements and things like that. Great example is right over there in the background, you'll see Piccolo posed up in a certain way. This actually jumps straight to my main man, Piccolo. This is Piccolo Superhero. And even though this pose isn't very what you see in the anime for Piccolo, this is a fighting style I can see Piccolo using and doing, because in my mind, it's what I've made up, right? So I try to make it pose in a way that fits the style and the aura of the figure. These are things that I talk about all the time, but I guess I gotta re-up and kind of retune that information every now and then. So as you can see, we have a spread leg, right? A crouching stance. We have our attacking hand and our prepped and readiness hand. And as you can see, fighting style wise, Piccolo is prepping. He can defend and attack by using forward motion. So let's say he defends here. This arm will now come to the motion of punching, because now we change our stance. Oh, that's actually the wrong leg. Let me fix that. Since we have our back leg there, but Piccolo can now defend and attack, right? So now you can come across with an extension. It's things like this that, trust me, I know for a fact I am overthinking it, but this is the kind of stuff that I do in my brain, right? So let's say Piccolo and Ken were getting it in for whatever reason, Street Fighter versus Dragon Ball, or, you know, whatever. At least back when it was just strictly Dragon Ball, it was mostly about the martial arts. And that's part of the reason why I really liked Dragon Ball Superhero. There was a lot more martial arts and stuff like that, I guess. So you see I have Piccolo in a defensive stance. And we know Ken can still punch, but he's mostly about the kicks, right? So let me actually do this on camera with you. So I'm actually prepping Ken up for a kick, right? So if Ken was getting ready to do some kick and mover, or let's say a reverse hurricane kick or whatever it is. But let's say Ken was about to come down with the next kick. This is a terrible motion, so this doesn't work off the bat for me, right? I don't really like that. So let's go with a stand-in side kick. And then my phone's going off and stuff. So let's say Piccolo was defending. You can do a stand-in side kick. But again, I don't like the way that looks either, right? So this is where I bring stuff like stands in. And these stands, actually, these ones I've got from 796 Studios on IG. But I know there's plenty of other people making stands and things like that. So keep that in mind, right? I didn't like the way any of that looked, right? But let's say I wanted to get Ken at a higher stance to kind of get the better feel of what I wanted. This is the kind of stuff I sit down and I play with until, you know, I kind of get the idea that I want. And this actually looks a lot better, right? Ken's coming down with a giant axe kick. Piccolo is defending, you know, trying to get that overhead defense. But stuff like this kind of feels better to me. Like I said, this is just a raw, I'm going to actually fine tune it. But I'm just trying to show you the trial and error process I go through when trying to figure out a photo. This is the kind of stuff I set up all the time. I try to figure out how it works for me. And this is just my process. I'm trying to give you a little bit of insight into that. But more importantly, there's stuff like figuring out angles and things like that. So there's a bunch of stuff angle-wise where I'm like, oh, well, how do you figure out your angles? So let's take my phone, because I'm recording on my camera. So we're going to take my phone. We're going to push those guys back a little bit. And I don't know if we can see this on the phone. Let's actually move over just a little bit so we can follow the phone. And you can see kind of what we're getting into. I don't think I can pull back anymore, so I'm going to do it this way. As we pull back and kind of, right? So we have this weird angle, right? But on the phone, we can see that that angle picks up, right? See? That's how it picks up on camera. And if we do a portrait, it'll zoom in, because people always ask me about phone stuff. So as you can see, the stand is well hidden. We just got to crop some angles. But as you can see, there's that negative space there. So we try to turn the angle a little bit more to fit that negative space. This is kind of the process that I go through, because I don't shoot with a tripod. I only shoot the video stuff with tripod. But camera is all freehand. If you've ever seen me in my IG live, you know for a fact I will freehand the shit out of something. So, yeah. So let's actually leave those guys like that, or whatever. We'll just leave the stand up. And then we have our Wasp Raider from Valaverse. I really like this figure, and I need to get around to reviewing it, but will not be able to for quite some time, strictly because I'm away at this time. July is very busy. But as you can see, posed up, we can get Wasp Raider to get some nice stances. And then if you wanted to get cool flight stances out of it, you can actually do the angled swap. As you can see here, we're getting like that downward flight pose, looking real nice. And it has the space and capacity to do regular old flight poses as well. So yes, it's really nice. But it's one of those things where you got to find your angle, you got to find your vibe. More importantly, you need to find, sometimes people just need color. Like me, I feel so naked without using color because I went so long without using it. I just don't want my stuff to feel so bland, because life is full of like color, and I want to use that. So I definitely try to use that to my advantage of just bringing out a shot with vibrant colors, right? And then we have stuff like Kyoto. Kyoto tends to have tons and tons of forms of articulation, but it's on characters that, as you can see, body-wise, you need to really sit down and like play with it. Sometimes the joints allow it for easy movement to take it off. These are the kind of things where I prefer to study the articulation of the toy, because it won't be easy really learning everything by just kind of taking it out of the box, especially with something that has pretty much unlimited potential. Like, you can do just about anything with these if you really like play around with it. Like, look, you fold them like a pretzel, no problem, right? Or let's say you wanted to get in a really, really low pose, right? If you sit down and play with this figure long enough, and I mean it, you will probably be able to get some of the best poses ever out of this toy. But you really gotta see how I'm keep popping the leg off, because I'm getting to know its tolerances. And it's not easy to do stuff like this, especially not on camera. Like, now I'm just kind of not holding back, but on camera I hold back, because breaking something on camera has happened to me many a time, and it's not fun. But more importantly, you try not to break it on camera, strictly because you don't want to kill your own enjoyment, because I've also done that. But I've had some fun with Todoroki. As you can see here, just going to keep pushing down till I figure out the tolerance. And this is like something that I do a lot, especially with Ken. Boy, Ken has been sitting on my desk for literally like months now as I've sat down and tried to figure it out. But look, and it's still one of those more natural looking poses, even at the angle it's at. So even if I don't want to poke the neck out as much, just more natural looking. You try to get down with the get down. I also have to finish Todoroki's review. Everyone know my main man, Kamen Rider Kuga. And boy, do I have fun with this guy all the time. He's like the smallest dude ever. So with stuff like sizes, right, and worrying about that, a great example that I've done is set up like size-wise, right? If you are a taller person fighting a shorter person, and we're going to assume in the most fantasy outlet, because sometimes real life doesn't work like that. Fights are not fair. It's quick on your feet thinking. It's a lot of adrenaline. That's how a real fight works. Even if you're a trained martial artist. I've seen all sorts of people like get blindsided by just adrenaline. But stuff like a bat, right? A robot fighting, let's say Kuga, who you see that the bat is clearly bigger, has that advantage. Let's say he doesn't even move like a robot. Let's say he really just like runs up on him and just grabs him. It's stuff like this where I'm like, you can make any scenario you want. I really realize like a lot of the times we get caught up in our own ideas of something. We forget that with toys, we're kind of not limited to doing whatever. Like, so if I want to have Kuga like box a dude, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have him literally use a boxing style. It was like, oh, Kuga doesn't use boxing. How would you know? It's my toys. I can have fun. So look, right? So let's say the bat is trying to grab him, but he just like dodges to the side and gives him a nice punch. I don't know why I have these Major Blood dog tags on them, but I like it. But look at that. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it stopped recording because I was trying to get the focus. So I'm just going to add that in as I was going, literally as I was setting up, because I held down the button too long. But as you can see here, it's simple things like this that I can like go for and match that mood or like have that fun. These are the things that I'm talking about all the time with toys. It's like you shouldn't be limited by what somebody says a character can do, at least not in the toy format. Like the possibilities are literally endless. And in this case, I have robots, I have the feet matching, I have the posture, but this is the kind of stuff that I enjoy. You see what I did with Ken and Piccolo in the background, you see what I've done with the Valaverse figure, you see what I've done with Todoroki. Having fun with toys shouldn't be a chore. With me, it's a little different, obviously, because my preferences are different. But one of the things that I enjoy most is the creativity part of it. We don't always all have to do the same thing. I mean, if you want to have Silver Surfer surfing the surfboard and on riding some tubular waves, that's your business. Like, there's nothing wrong with being creative and getting back to your most childlike state when you are playing with these toys, right? So I made this video to kind of remind us all, including myself, that we should have a little bit of fun, take our time, enjoy ourselves, and hopefully we can rejuvenate that kind of love. I don't know what I'm going to call this plastic party by the time it comes out. I always invent the title after I've uploaded the video. But I hope this helps some people with posing. I hope it helps you with ideas. If you have questions or comments, my wife will be checking the comments, and I'm going to try to do answerings to those. I know some people ask me about my lighting and stuff like that. My lighting is very simple, actually. So I can actually I can actually answer that one now. Right now, this is the room light on top, obviously, but I do have these lights on the side when I'm reviewing. And as you can see, it's changing the mood, right? See how my light kind of changes with the mood? Look at that. So when I put them close, look at that. You see the quality definitely change. The problem is, right, is that it's not easy to kind of do this all the time. So I don't always use these, but this is primarily my light source. From behind, you'll see it darken up. See the camera changes automatically. In front, you see that quality kind of change. And then when people ask me about my big lights, that one is very easy with my big lights. I actually use 2 stage lights that I got from my boy Just a Jive, who put me onto the stage light stuff. because I wanted a different vibe for stuff. And I've answered this several times, but there is one of my stage lights right there. Let's get some focus on it. It is the Slim Par Q12 BT, right? That's one of the stage lights I use. I do believe I'm still hooked in. Let me look. Let me see. Nope, I'm not hooked in anymore, but I'm gonna try to hook it up while I'm on. Let's give me a few seconds. But yeah, I really love like stuff like this. And then again, it's one of those things where playing with toys has been fun, and it always should be fun. You should be able to look. You should be putting people down if we're all playing with toys. It's as simple as that. And I don't understand how it's gotten to this, but I am asking you personally now, take care of each other. Like, you know, make sure that we're all having fun. It's that simple, man. For real, for real. So as you can see, my light came on, right? It's giving down that background light. And I use background light because I like to set the mood, like I said. So I can do stuff like change my colors. And again, I've done this numerous times. I've done it in videos, but I guess I got to keep renewing that what I'm doing thing, right? I'm trying to learn how to be better about that. As you can see, we can constantly change colors. And changing of the colors also changes the mood on certain things, which is why I loved it. You know who actually put me onto that? Posable Productions on IG. Literally Posable Productions. He put me onto the color wheel because I already liked playing with color. But it wasn't until he put me onto the color wheel that I was able to sit down and really reevaluate how I wanted to do things with color. So I appreciate you for that, Posable Productions. You actually put me onto something that I didn't know that I was going to be using till this day. So I appreciate you for that. But yeah, like as you can see, there is a ton of stuff posing and just everything wise that you want to sit down and just really kind of, you know, see. As you can see with Piccolo, the lighting looks completely different now with Piccolo, right? So let's try to put Piccolo on a stand. So Piccolo on the stand, just looking real cool in a flight pose. We're going to try to get to even itself out. There we go. Look at this. Right? Piccolo with some cool yellow lighting in the background, looking real cool. But let's say we wanted Piccolo to have some slightly different color variation, right? Let's aim for a little bit of red. See how red kind of just fits a different mood, a different vibe. Piccolo's wearing purple. He has green skin, yellow. So if you put green up against that, well, that's not green, sorry. Let's fix that. It's a little bit more bluish. Let's fix it to green. Again, the vibe changes. So it's different kind of stuff like that I like to experiment with. And now you can see it live as I sit down and really kind of just play with it. So this is the kind of fun that I like to have. And that's really why I enjoy taking photos. Let's see if we can get a nice Piccolo photo, right? Let's get that pic. And this is a quick phone shot. So let's see. There we go. I don't know if it's going to come out as good on camera. Let me switch the focus back. Right? And again, thank you for those bearing with me as I test out all these new camera things I'm trying to learn. But as you can see here, this is just a phone shot. So I'm just trying to... This is not me messing around with my camera. So let's back it up a little bit more. Yeah. Again, this is all stuff we can goof off and play with. And don't think that you can't, like, really sit down and learn this stuff. Because if you sit down long enough and, like, really sit with it, you can get really good. Practice is very important. I'm not even joking when I say that. Practice is very, 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 very important. Like any other hobby, you don't have to take it seriously. But the more you do it, the more you explore it, the more fun you will have, because it won't feel like work. And that's the most important thing. So, you know, practice at your hobby. And if you don't get good, that's okay too. If you want to casually just take pictures on your phone, do it. If you want to just never take pictures ever again, don't. That doesn't mean you still can't enjoy it. There are literally a million ways to do it. And shout out to you for doing it. But I guess that's it for this motivational day. Hopefully I've helped someone. I've given out some sort of answers. And hopefully you've had a good time. So thank you for just listening to my voice as I move around action figures on the camera. for 10 minutes or so. Thank you for real, for always being there, always watching. It means a lot. So as always, please, guys, thank you. Be good, do good, and drink your water, guys. Later.